All right, I'm going to try a different type of video today. I'm going to do sort of a deeper breakdown of a hand that I played. It's a hand that I played 2-3 no limit, and I played it with 10-5 of clubs under the gun +1. So I want to start right off the bat saying this video is going to be for poker players who like talking strategy and yeah. So it's going to be boring for some people, I think, who I think might be the normal Eddie the Fun Player audience. So here we go. 10-5 of clubs under the gun +1. I open a wide range because I'm at a table where the players are not 3-betting me that often. So I'm going to see a flop. And also, post flop, I felt pretty confident in my reads on the specific players that were at my table that day. So I felt pretty comfortable navigating post flop. Now, I made it $10 and I got 3 callers. The flop is Jack 3 5. On this flop, I have second pair. The pocket pair is 6s, 7s, 8s beat me. A Jack beats me. But it's hard to make a pair in poker, they say. But also, my opponent's ranges, right? What hands did they call my raise with? They were calling very wide. So they can have a lot of like king high, ace high hands. There's so many hands that they have that miss this board, even though I'm versus 3 players. Only because they were calling me wide. If they were tighter players, then it'd be different, right? Because they would have a made hand more often. But because they were playing wider ranges, they pretty much have air a lot of the time. And if they do have something, it's probably something that's going to fold by the river if I keep betting. So I decide to bet my pair to thin the field and also get some value from draws. What are the draws? Flush draws, because the flop had 2 hearts on it. So it's a 2-tone flop, right? There's 2 hearts, a spade, and flush draws will call a small bet, and pocket pairs like 6s, 7s, 8s will call that I'm losing to, but ace highs like ace 4, ace deuce will call. So there's hands that I can get value from, and I bet. And I want other players who have air to fold, because if they have a card, if they have air with like a king 7 or something like that, or king 9, I want them to just fold now, because I don't want them to get a king or a 9 on the turn, right? Because then my 5 is no good. So this bet is just meant to be a value bet, and to thin the field. So that's what I do. The bet sizing I used, to me, it doesn't matter if I bet pot or I bet small. I'd rather bet small because it accomplishes, I think, the same thing as betting pot in my mind. I think that I don't want to value on myself at this point, but I do want to narrow people's ranges, if you will. So the turn is a 9, and it does not complete the flush. So is a pair of 5 still good here? Well, who is our opponent? Our opponent was the person on the button, and they called our small bet, right? The pot was $40 on the flop. We bet 10. They called a $10 bet. That's a small bet. They're always calling with draws, and if they have a jack, they're sometimes raising, right? I think they're raising pretty often. Specifically this player, I have history with them. They have raised me with top pair in spots like this, and this is where I'm going to say they split their range, right? And what that means is, at least what I, in my mind, is that I think they are raising top pair, jack, or better on the flop to my small bet. They're raising my small bet most of the time. So when they call, at best, they have a hand like pocket 7s or pocket 8s. And at worst, they have a lot of ace high, king high, um, straight draws, flush draws, that a pair is definitely ahead of. So I decide to get some more value and bet half pot because they're on the button. They're more likely to call than if they were out of position. So I bet. I bet half pot, 35 into 70. They call our bet, so that also just tells me that their hand is probably not that good, and it also, most of the time, if we want to break this mathematically, we could like make a list of all the hands we think they have and then figure out of all those hands, how many of those are draws, and then divide the number of drawing hands over all the possible hands they could have. And I think that, I don't know, over like half the time, definitely over half the time, they're going to be having hands that we're ahead of. So that's my thinking there. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And then the river is a jack, so the board pairs. Now, I already didn't think they had a jack because they didn't raise the flop. And now when this jack comes out, every fucking vlogger in the world says it makes it less likely that my opponent has a jack, right? So they're right. So yeah, they either, I don't know, have us beat with like a stubborn pocket pair that didn't believe us, or they hit a 9 on the turn, or they have nothing. So if I were to bet, right, they're going to fold when they have nothing because no one bluffs. This is on the river now. They're going to fold. They're nothing. So betting does nothing. We get no extra value. And they're going to call us with their pocket pair that's ahead of us or their random 9 that they hit on the turn. They're rarely ever going to call us with ace high. So to me, betting here for value, even though we know we probably have the best hand, doesn't make sense. It actually makes more sense to check and just hope that these guys will like bluff, right? And their bet sizing is going to be very telling. If they bet big, they probably have it. Here's the thing about the river is that players don't really bluff the river. A lot of the players in the public game pool just don't ever bluff, especially for a big sizing. So, as I checked, it's live poker. You look at your opponent. I looked at my opponent. I have looked at my opponents a lot in these spots, and I play a game of do they look strong or weak, right? Those are very vague terms, words, but if you play live poker enough and see showdowns a lot, you can start to see patterns, whether you're conscious or unconscious of them, in terms of what people look like when they're strong or when they're weak. And like I said, I've played versus this player many times. So they didn't look very strong. They didn't look very enthusiastic about what they were about to do, which was bet. They bet small, okay? The pot was $140-ish, and they put out a bet of $35. So relative to the pot, that's a very small bet. And I very quickly just called, and they had a missed draw, 8-6 of hearts. So let me know if I got max value there, or if I played the hand well, if I just got lucky, if I played the hand horribly. Obviously, most of you are not going to raise 10-5 of clubs from +1. But let's just say that, just comments on the post-flop play would be appreciated. Let me know if I'm punting or not. All right. Peace.